If many of you know, many of you don't know, Frank Furante walked into Cafe Gratitude in 9th and Irving about 3 years.
You want me to tell it?
3 years ago. You want to tell the story? All right.
Yeah.
We're going to let him tell the story.
3 years ago, on a dark and dreary, wet winter evening, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, and as much as I could mind my own business, and I walked past this restaurant that said Cafe Gratitude, and I immediately thought it had something to do with AA, so I walked by the window, and Belinda, and I forgot, you know, Belinda was there, and she waved, she winked at me, and I thought, well, I got to go into this joint. So I went in, and nobody was in there, and I walk in, and all these people go, hey, hi, how are you, welcome. Naturally, I thought everybody was high, which was all right with me, but they weren't. And at the time, I was very, 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 very unhappy, very unhealthy. I was nearly 300 pounds, in an extremely toxic relationship. Not that any of you could identify with that. And I really thought it was all, I thought it basically, you know, I was just going to learn to endure life at this point. So I walk into this place, and they were so nice to me, and I was so starved for that kind of affection that I made excuses to go back. I had no idea. My first question was that there wasn't a stove in this place. And I said, well, how do you cook your food? And they said, well, it's raw food. Well, how do you cook your food then? You know, and so I kept going back because they were really nice, and I sort of connected with Ryland, and you know, I have this question of the day thing that they do, and they asked me, Ryland said, well, what's something you'd like to do before you die? Which I thought was pretty soon. And I said, I'd like to fall in love again. I really want one last romantic adventure. And apparently that moved him, and so they got together and decided that they were going to go on this project. And they said, well, you know that movie Super Size Me? I says, yeah. That's where the guy eats himself sick. He says, well, we want to do the opposite. We want to take a sick guy and make him well, and we want you to be the guy. And I said, I'm not that interesting. He goes, well, we'll be the judge of that. And so we started this film project. Now, mind you, we didn't have a camera. We had no expertise, nothing. It's a good thing we had no idea of what was involved, because we might not have done it. When we finally got the camera, we had to learn how to use it, and when we did use it, we used it improperly. Nevertheless, we shot 120 hours of film, and the upshot is that, you know, it's not about the outside. What I had to do was learn how to love myself, and as cheesy as that sounds, it's where it's at. And so we shot this film, and, you know, from being a guy who was like pre-diabetic and almost 300 pounds and incredibly miserable, wearing a size 44 pants. I'm now wearing a size 33, training for the Alcatraz swim. I actually, dare I say, actually, you know, I'm not in love with myself, but I like myself a lot. You know, I've learned to, you know, these people are really so whacked. I mean, they really are, but like in such a wonderful, wonderful way, you know? And it's like, there's this great line in a Leonard Cohen song. It's that, you know, it's the light comes through the cracks. And there's a lot of light in this place, let me tell you. And you know, I've never felt judged. I've never felt accused. I've never felt anything but welcomed here. And these are extraordinary people in extraordinary times, and with an extraordinary mission. And there's a level of generosity here that's really just, you know, staggering to me. I just really an extraordinary sense of generosity and selflessness, and you know, yes. You know, I never want to tell Ryland an idea because then he tells me, hey, well, let's go do it. You know, so I don't, you know, I try to speak to him in vagaries now. But these are really wonderful people, and I'm really lucky to have met them. Hopefully, you know, hopefully we'll be friends forever.
Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you for bringing your piece to the table. You are exactly what we needed in our lives. Come sit down with me, my friends, and let's tell stories that never end. Let me gaze upon your smile, for you have made a difference. Every life you have touched, you freed the world when you freed your heart. So I thank you for being loved. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you for bringing your piece to the table. You are exactly what we needed in our lives. We talk of peace in the world, sustainable living, the power of love, the art of forgiving, the art of forgiving yourself. It's being a neighbor and knowing your worth, and gratitude for all the blessings of the earth. Painting rainbows with a child. So I thank you for being loved. Thank you for sharing it with us. Thank you for bringing your piece to the table. Thanks, Anissa. You're exactly what we needed in our lives. You are exactly what we needed in our lives. You are exactly what I needed in my life.
Thank you.
How long have you been performing in the Bay Area? And tell me about your music.
Well, I've been singing. My first recording is when I was 2 years old, so I've been singing my whole life. But I just moved to the Bay about 1.5 years ago, so I've been performing here about that long.
Describe your music. What is it? What kind of genre of music would it be?
I would say it's kind of an acoustic soul sound, a lot of folk, jazz influences, and but all of it's centered. It's all love-centric music. It's all love-centric.
Yes.
So it's all about spreading messages of positivity and change and empowerment of oneself and self-love.
Do you have a CD out now, or are you planning to have one out shortly?
I don't have one right now, but I'm in the midst of recording now.
And how can people contact you if they want to hear more and know more about you? Do you have a MySpace or Facebook or?
Yep, I have a MySpace page.